Hi all, Graham here, and something a bit different. This time I'm having a chat with Joe, and he's the tournament organiser for UK Saga Grand Melee 2025. We talk briefly about the history of UK Grand Melee, and then we talk about the upcoming Grand Melee this summer. We discuss the scenarios and very briefly how they play. The event, as always, is sponsored by the good fellows from Gripping Beast, and I know they've been very, very generous with their sponsorship. Last weekend was Roll Call, another Saga competition, Age of Chivalry as well, and Joe was running it and played in it, and we discussed that. And finally, an apology from me. I had a light directly above my head, and as a consequence there's a little bit of shine there, so hopefully you don't find it too distracting. Anyway, I hope you enjoy what you watch. Here it is. Good evening everybody. Tonight we've got Joe. He's come to talk about primarily about UK Grand Melee, and it's a BritCon that's coming up in the next 3 months away. Joe is the tournament organiser, so we're getting it very much from the horse's mouth. We'll talk about the venue, why it's been moved, maybe just touch on the scenarios. We don't want to go on to that too much, but anyway, enough of me waffling. Good evening, Joe. How are you?
Good evening, Graham. I'm very well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm just getting over a bad back, but you don't want to know that. Now, you ran Grand Melee last year, didn't you, as well?
I did, yes, yeah, yeah. So I stepped into to run it last year, and that was in Nottingham,
Yeah.
which was great fun playing in that, and I was quite fortunate in the games as well because I did get good results overall. This is why I've got this.
Did you polish it before you brought it out tonight?
Just a bit, yeah, just a bit.
Impressive. Well done. Does it have everybody's names on it then? How many years has that trophy been about? Because I remember that from a few years ago.
Yeah, it's been handed around quite a lot. It doesn't have the names engraved on it. No, it says a Saga Grand Melee champion, and it's been handed around. Yes, quite a bit between the different UK champions. But this is my first time winning it.
How many years has that trophy been about? Because I remember that certainly 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I couldn't say, but yeah, perhaps 5 or 6 years, maybe something like that. Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh, and you intend to hold on to it this year as well?
Well, so I'm organising again. I would say currently I'm in a mood. I want to play in it. I want to enjoy it. I wouldn't be definitely trying to win again. I would be a bit more relaxed about it. And that's what I'm saying now. Might feel different nearer to the
heat of battle, Joe. Heat of battle. We all know what it's like. well, excellent. So first of all, last year, as you said, it was in Nottingham. This year, it's been moved to Derby. Leicester. I know it's in the Midlands. Yeah. So Leicester. So Nottingham to Leicester to Nottingham to Leicester is not actually that far. It's only 10 miles, 20 miles away.
No, it's not. It's not too far, and it was great that BritCon was in Nottingham. We like the city of wargaming was a great place to have it, and it was hosted at the University of Nottingham. But they changed their prices and they cancelled the booking at University of Nottingham, and so the organisers had to find a new venue. So luckily we found Leicester, and it's not too far away, and it's still in August, a different weekend in August, but 23rd, 24th of August this year in Leicester. So yeah, we're looking forward to another great event. They've got found a great new venue, lots of different games going on, a big trade show once again at BritCon, so it should be really good.
Is it on a university campus, is it, or?
Yes, I believe so, yeah. Yeah, or especially the venue events building for Leicester University, I believe, is where it is.
Ah, okay. So obviously then there's on-site accommodation as well.
There isn't accommodation supplied with it this year, but there's lots of different hotels in Leicester, so that shouldn't be a problem finding somewhere to stay.
Oh, okay, cool. And how much is it?
Well, so it's the BritCon entry. There's two different ways to enter the Grand Melee this year. All right, well, kind of to explain that we've got a new format this year. So to enter the Grand Melee, the 2-day event for winning this trophy, that's £50 for the 2 days, and so that's also quite a bit of money, but it does include some extras in there. So also included in the entry is lunch on both days. So the organisers have put on lunch. The idea is that you get lunch and then you don't need to spend a long time going out to buy a lunch. You can spend time at the show, which is, if you're playing games in a tournament, you don't get a lot of time to look around the show. So the trade show. So now you can just have your quick lunch and you've got time to look around the show. And they also give you a £5 voucher you can spend in any of the stalls at the trade show as well. So included in that £50, you get lunch and your voucher as well as entry to the BritCon show. So that's if you come for 2 days for the Grand Melee, but you can also, we're trying now a 1-day entry. So this is something new. We want to try and attract some more people to come and play Saga. And coming to, if you're not very experienced in tournaments, coming to sign up for like the 2-day Grand Melee is quite a big deal. So we think, look, perhaps there's a way we can invite players in and make it a bit more easy to join. So we do a 1-day event running with the Grand Melee. So if players come just for the Saturday, you can pay £30 and come just for the Saturday. You still get your £5 voucher, entry to the show, and still get lunch. And you're just playing the 1-day Saga event, which will be Age of Vikings and Age of Invasions. And you're playing with the same players in the Grand Melee. So there'll be a 1-day champion. So whoever wins that day gets some prizes. And then those who are staying for the Grand Melee carry on, keep their scores through to the next day, and they play. And this is the change, the big change this year, is that the next day you play with a different warband. You play with a Crusades or Chivalry warband the next day. So you've got that kind of that good test of skill in 2 different eras of Saga. Now it's split, so it should be really interesting. Challenge that, something new. We appreciate the players might need to bring 2 warbands. You might find figures that suit for Age of Vikings and Crusades, that's possible, but you might want to bring 2 different warbands in. So that's something new.
So I mean, sometimes when I assume you have to give a roster. You do.
You have to give. So you're giving your rosters for. There's a roster for each, and you have to give them both in on the first day. Yes,
and that includes. And you can have up to one. Is it 7 points including, or is it 6 points including 1 merc unit?
It's 6 points. You can have 1 mercenary unit in each list, so we don't want the mercenary dominating. So it used to be
7, and you could drop 1, didn't it? So it's gone down to 6.
Yeah. So we don't tend to do that so much at Saga tournaments in the UK anymore, because you've got that half-point swap, and it allows quite a bit of freedom, that half-point swap, to just change some of your warriors out for levy or swap in some half guard. It's a nice way to customize your warband for the game. The problem with the 7 points was that there's some mercenaries are not so good in certain scenarios, and some would just drop out the mercenary unit for certain scenarios.
I must admit, I've played a couple of the scenarios, and obviously conquest points doesn't favour mercenaries particularly.
No,
which is interesting. But also, I was going to say that I know Welsh, as an example, some people would bring. They might say they've got 6 points of warriors, but they might have 6 points of mounted warriors and 6 points of foot warriors. So they could be bringing 3 warbands to the weekend. Then that's possible.
Yes, they could. There are a lot of equipment options. And that's a good thing about Saga, really, is, of course, once you've got your list, if you've got different equipment options, you can change those when you're at the point of deployment, and that's a kind of attack to the game. It's great for a tournament organizer that doesn't need to be decided in advance, that no one needs to hand in a list for Saga. So it's so simple, really, just to check a list on the morning on the day.
Okay, so and of course it's Chivalry on the Sunday as well, which is good, because that's very much in vogue at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. So we had a big decision to make, really, about which warbands, which eras of Saga do we put into the Grand Melee. And we thought, well, Chivalry's got to be there with the new one. We really want to see these Chivalry warbands. But if you just have Age of Chivalry for the whole Grand Melee, it really excludes some players, because just about everyone plays Age of Vikings. Not everyone is going to be playing Age of Chivalry. So it would feel like it's excluding some newer players from the game if we only had Chivalry. We thought, well, but then if you have Vikings and Chivalry together, it's a bit of an odd mix. Or then if you put all the warbands together every era together, it's too many different warbands. So we thought, how can you make this work? So that's why we kind of had this idea for the 2-day splits, really. So
I know Invasions and Vikings has always been very popular, and they do go well together. But obviously, it does mean the Age of Hannibal and Age of Alexander are not included. But
we had to draw the line somewhere, and I thought they kind of fit into a different area, and it'd be great to have a tournament for Ancients later on this year as a separate event. But I thought they didn't quite fit with the rest in the Grand Melee this year. But I mean, perhaps next year, if this works well, you could have 1 day of Ancients and 1 day Invasions and Vikings. That would work well for a Grand Melee as well.
Oh, okay, cool, interesting. So it starts at 8:30 on a Saturday. Do people obviously come Friday night? Do there a lot of people come on a Friday night, or?
Some do, yeah. Some stay on the Friday night. I'll be there on the Friday night to do some setting up before, and the show is open. And some of the game systems are playing their first tournament games on Friday night, of course. So a Bolt Action is going to be playing a game on the Friday night. So the trade show's open. There's not so many people there. Most players come on the morning on Saturday, who were coming for the Grand Melee. They did last time. They would come in the morning and then stay one night in, and then go back the next day.
I remember at Manchester they used to play on a Friday night as well, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Many years ago.
Originally in Manchester, you play on a Friday, and all day Saturday, and on Sunday, and it was 11 games, I seem to remember, over the weekend, which was tough going, but it was great. You played loads of different scenarios. It was great fun back in those days, but a bit much for everyone now. So yes, it's 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday.
Well, what I'd do is, the question is then, how do people enrol on the course, or enrol on the competition?
Well, you need to go to the BritCon website for the British Historical Games Society website. They've got a link for BritCon. It's got the players pack on there, the rules pack, and it's got place to sign up as well. So you can buy tickets online. As I say, it's £50 for the full Grand Melee 2 days, or sign up just for the Saturday for Age of Invasions and Vikings, and that's £30 a day.
Well, what I'll do is I'll put a link to that in the comments of this video as well. So hopefully, if you need to find it quickly, then it should be there. So you've got 6 scenarios. Now, there's a few I recognise and a few that are new, which is good.
Did you find them out? Seen your videos?
Yeah. Well, I've played Wolf Pass. That was good, actually. I enjoyed that.
I'm glad you said that, because that was entirely mine, that one. And So there's a mix of different scenarios in there, and Wolf Pass came about because I wanted a scenario where it's a different setup, and you kind of nearly every scenario you've kind of got the same from your long table edge, and you're going towards your enemy's long table edge. And I wanted something that's different, and so corner to corner attack is a bit of a change. And there also weren't many scenarios using conquest points. Which I thought we've got like one where conquest points decide the winner, because conquest points sort of discourage Levy a bit. Who I know they score well for warriors, score well in conquest points, but it's really to discourage Levy. Who there are some warbands who can bring a vast number of Levy and it be really, really successful, and it's just a bit boring to play. And I wanted to discourage that a little bit. Hearthguard are okay at conquest points. Warriors are really good. So that's kind of you're encouraged to bring some Hearthguard and some warriors for a bit of a change for Wolf.
Well, what I liked about it was that you get double jubble if you within 2L of the player, your opponent's deployment zone, and so that encourages aggressive play, reckless, some might say as well, but which is good.
There's different ways to play that scenario, so it's quite good fun. You're really limited in the space. You can block your opponent, you can charge, you can wait for opportunities to sneak into their scoring zone. So it's quite an interesting one to play. So I urge anyone to have a go at that one, yes, as a pass.
That one played well, and I played Sacred Ground as well, which actually went live this weekend. I played that one as well, and that was a good one.
So
Interesting.
Sacred Ground was a version 1 scenario. It was really popular as a tournament scenario, and it's kind of
I remember it.
Back
but
now.
You've tweaked it. There were some hitches with that, because I played in Grand Melee 2 in 2014, and I come unstuck on that scenario, actually, funnily enough. But you've tweaked it. For what the problem was with it.
The big change from the very first original one were the flaw was that you score points for getting into these 3 terrain pieces, but the flaw was that you could just put a huge number of troops into the central terrain piece and score so many points that your opponent couldn't possibly catch up if that happened at the start. And so my adjustment was to say you can only score as many points from each terrain piece as the turn number, so you can't score really big early on and be uncatchable. So it's the later turns are decisive. So that was the big change that I put in, and then there's been a few tweaks as it's changed to version 2.
The scoring was the big one, I think, actually, because it favours slightly larger units. Because if you've got a unit of 3, if it's a half guard, you're going to get just 1 point. And when I played a guy, and he had units of 4 warriors, young Viking, and he just flooded it, and he scored huge amounts of points. And and you stop that one, and that, to be fair, that's a good improvement, I think. So
so I think it's because it's been changed from the original, the version 1 Saga to this version 2. There are a few different adjustments of Sacred Ground going around. So I know different countries play slightly different variations on it, and it is one I've tried to make work for the Grand Melee, and tried to make it go smoothly. Like, I changed the scoring to you score on the start of your own turn instead of the end of your opponent's turn.
That was the only thing I was unsure about, because I think it doesn't favour the second player. That was the only thing.
With scoring on the end of your opponent's turn, thing is that's a bit of a punishment on the second player as well, because it means the first player gets to move in and then score on the second player's turn, and whereas the second player can't score on the first player's first turn because they haven't done anything yet, they haven't had a turn. And so every time the second player scores, the first player's had an extra turn than them, 1 more turn every time. So I was trying to get away from that, but there is a flaw which, of course, kind of came up in the game you played, where it means that the final turn of the game for player 2
it's a dead rubber.
What they do because they scored at the start. And I thought I kind of accepted that as kind of a feature of the scenario you've got to play to. But the thing that might be an issue there is that the scenarios at the Grand Melee this year are going to play in a random order. We don't know which order they're going to be. So if it turns out that Sacred Ground is the last game of the tournament, the last turn of the last game of the tournament wouldn't matter, and that doesn't seem right. So I am prepared to have a look back at Sacred Ground and maybe tweak it, make sure it's fair between the players. So I might do an adjustment on that.
I mean, and the other thing as well was that the first player, they can manoeuvre for free, whereas and they're going to manoeuvre towards the terrain, whereas the second player has to pay Saga points to get onto the terrain. So there's a slight edge there as well.
Yeah, so that's why second player has more Saga dice in their turn.
Yeah, because you went 5.
Finding a tweak of that is tricky. But I might have another look at that one and do an adjustment if needed. But it's a great scenario, Sacred Ground. It's worth playing, worth for everyone giving a go, because that's that moving and the 3 different places to score makes it very interesting. And
I think with all these scenarios, the most important thing is to practice them. I mean, I come a little bit unstuck with the scoring, which when I edited it, I discovered the score was a little bit different to what we imagined. It doesn't matter because it's only a club night game. But the key thing that I liked in what you wrote was that both people should score the game, and then they should compare the scores after, not trust one person to do it. And people make mistakes. I made a mistake, and it's a basic thing, but I think if you encourage both players to record the score, then that solves that problem straight away, I think. But I'm playing Advanced tomorrow, and I'm playing my mate's silver, and he's using the French, so I think I'm in trouble. But
Great. Well, Advanced is a scenario from the Studio Tomahawk pack, so that's one we're using with the 5 objectives. I like that one because there's a lot of choices to make about which objectives do you attack, which one do you defend, and it's quite an interesting one to play.
I like the fact that it's really, you know, that if you attack the ones on the far side, you get 6 points per turn, which is massive compared to 1. You know, so yeah, again, I mean, the scenarios look as they encourage aggressive play, which makes for entertaining games, and which is what you want, really. So no, well, I shall try and play the scenarios in the next few weeks before I go on holiday. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they play. And
let's see, Desacralization was the other one from the Studio Tomahawk pack, which is the one where you have to you effectively scoring kill points, but you are capped unless you destroy your opponent's objective markers. You have to attack. You have to think about attacking your enemy and also attack and destroy the objective markers as well. So that's quite a good one to play as well. It gets a good aggressive scenario, that one.
Well, I like those. Well, we shall see. So I shall play them and see if we can.
Oh yes, one more scenario as well we haven't mentioned, which was to break a shield wall. So this was the one from the Polish Grand Melee pack, and they've done such good work in the Polish Grand Melee, putting together some really good original scenarios, and and attracting so many players to their events as well. So impressed with what they've done there. I thought really want to give one of those scenarios a go, and so I put this one in to break a shield wall. Very much a sort of melee focused scenario with each player's got 3 objectives to represent their shield wall, and they've got to move their objectives into the opponent's half of the table to score. So it results in a huge big punch up in the middle. Really, it's a really big scrap in the middle with objective markers changing hands and being forced back, and so it's a really good one to play that.
So the question I got then, so you've got 6 scenarios. Are you going to randomly choose 3 scenarios from each per day, or will all 6 scenarios get played over the 2 days?
So there are 6 scenarios. All 6 will be played, but the order is not determined. The first one is decided. That's going to be a clash of walls, get everyone settled in on the first one, the first day. And the order of the rest of them is random. And the reason I've done that is because it means if you don't know exactly which scenario you're going to play with which warband, you have to get a balanced warband that's not
which is interesting because
scenarios.
Which is interesting because, as you said, some of the scenarios favour more melee aggressive factions, and obviously on a Saturday and a Sunday you could have 2 warbands that, you know, you could have a Norman warband and you could have something like French on the Sunday, which are 2 completely different factions, one shooty and one or skirmishy shooty, and one that's completely melee. So that's interesting.
So want it really to be any faction could potentially win, but they've got to think about the scenarios and how they build their list. And the last 3 Grand Melees in the UK have all been won by a Welsh warband. We know Welsh are very good. I won with Cymru Welsh, really, early Welsh, Age of Invasions Welsh. I won with, but we know Welsh are very, very good. They're very strong.
Well, they're flexible, aren't they?
Shooting faction, and they can be quite frustrating to play against because they don't engage in melee. They're very evasive and they shoot with the javelins, and so we want to change from that so that actually there's a focus back on the melee. It is the Grand Melee, so there should be lots of close combat going on and not just sneaky shooting and running away all the time.
No, right. Nerf the Welsh. Interesting. That's what you should call it. Grand Nerf the Welsh.
Not exactly a nerf, but I had them in mind and it'd be good to have.
No, I'm only joking, but yeah.
But they're still strong. They're still great Welsh, and they could still take on any warband from any era and be confident of doing well. Yeah,
I agree. So I was going to ask you about that actually. Why do you think it is that over in the UK we don't seem to get the numbers that they do in America, and as you say in Poland, which incredible. Yeah. What's your feelings on that?
They have a great scene for tournaments as well. Yeah, so we don't have huge numbers attending the UK Saga tournaments, and not as many as there used to be back a few years ago. And I think Saga is very widely played in the UK at club level. A lot of people are playing it and having their own Saga days and playing it at home. So it's really popular, but a lot of players don't see it like a tournament game. They see it like it's a bit of fun. We're not gonna go and take it to the tournament. Or they might say they might have been put off by tournament play and over competitive play in other games in the past. So that's my impression of it. And what I really want to do with this Grand Melee pack is that invites new players to come and take part, or people who've been playing Saga in the clubs or at homes and have got experience in playing, but perhaps they've never considered joining a tournament. I'd really like them to come along to the Grand Melee and see that actually it's great fun as a tournament game. It plays quick. There's very few rules disputes needed to be resolved. All the players on the tournament scene are really friendly and welcoming. So yeah, I really would encourage more players to come and try a Saga tournament in the UK.
I mean, also, I mean, you think about America and the large distances they travel for games. So people are going to make more of an effort to play in, Adepticon or Advance the Colours. And they need the competitions to get the games, whereas we are fortunate in the UK that we have so many clubs, and as you say, so many people play Saga, and maybe that is the reason. That's logical. So 2 years ago, I played in the Cirencester when there was the Grand Melee, and it was tied with the Ironman, and on the Ironman was actually quite well attended. I mean, why was there a move away from the Ironman? Was there any reason for that at all, or?
Well, yeah, there was. So last year at BritCon there was the Grand Melee and Ironman running alongside it, and unfortunately, just weren't very many people wanting to come to the Ironman. It was very few, and in the end they cancelled the Ironman event because it was seen to be like competing with the Grand Melee a little bit, and there weren't enough going to it to make it viable, which is really unfortunate because it's a great event, and I know players like to join in the Ironman. It's a slightly different vibe to the Grand Melee or the competitive games of Saga, but it's a great that it's running, and Rich Keenan does such a fantastic job with the Ironmans. And
he's brilliant. Yeah,
he is great, and he's got on the warbands. And I think again, a lot of players in the UK don't know that he offers this service, that he will come to local clubs and run a Saga day event bring all the warbands and the dice
for free.
For free, yes, yeah,
for free.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been to our club. He's been to our club in Reading, and it was strange about Cirencester because there were like 12 or 13 on both days. So I don't know. Maybe it was the way it was rolled out, but I think there's a place for Ironman. But maybe not this year. So Age of Chivalry. Tell me about that. What do you think of it? You enjoying the new supplement?
I am, yeah. I really like it. And do you know what? It's painting the warbands with all these bright colours for the knights and things. Isn't that great? After painting an old Dark Age warband.
Yeah, I know. I've got one on the.
Boring. Yeah. Yes, lovely knights colours. I've enjoyed that, and then a bit of uniform amongst the troops and things. Yeah. So it'd be good to put together. And I didn't really know very much about this period of history as well, and so I've been learning a bit as I go along. And it is really interesting with everyone fighting everyone and alliances changing and dukes declaring for different sides. So yeah, it's a great interesting period. And from what I've played of the factions, they seem quite well balanced within the book as well. So we had our Age of Chivalry event at Roll Call, and it would seem to be quite well balanced, the different factions.
All the factions, Joe.
Not every faction was represented, but the winners for that event were Free Company, and in fact, they were good. I didn't see them as the best board in the book, but they were. But actually, 2 Free Company warbands were facing off for the top spots and came first and second.
Wow. I've played quite a few games on the channel, and they are popular because the good thing about Chivalry is that a lot of the armies you can use for different not a lot of the figures you can use for different armies, and of course, Free Companies is a conglomerate of all of them because it's a mercenary army. So I can understand why it's popular, but I'm loving it. I've got 6 factions now.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Yeah, we like to see all your painted miniatures on the channel as well. It's great. Really.
Yeah, no, I've got 6 factions, and I'm just finishing off a German one as well. Which Germans? Yeah. So 3 companies. So the English then. What's your feelings on that then?
Wow, the English, we first saw them and looked at all that shooting and thought, in this world of horses, of cavalry, this English shooting is going to be amazing. Look at the long range they can shoot. Look at all the shooting they can do so easily. And then when we started playing games, we realised that they're actually not that amazing at shooting and not as strong as they first appeared. So we've had to revise that. And Chris took English to the event this day, and he's been played. So I've played him with English quite a few times. Played into his English, and he's been adjusting his list and really realised that actually the English strength is not in just shooting. It's in being able to do some close combat, some melees up close. They're really a close range faction. So people have to revise the way they're built. When that first we looked at them, we thought they're going to be playing.
But we all think they're going to be like the Indians or the Persians, and they're not, are they? Not at all.
No,
they don't play that way.
Yes, and so the cavalry isn't quite as vulnerable as it first appeared against the English. There's some tricks and some ways to defend.
I have to say I'm loving this supplement, and I think Saga really needed it. It's given it a right old kick up the arse, I think, and it's good. So obviously with Grand Melee, then you're teeing it with the Crusades. Do you think they marry well? I mean, the only thing obvious is Crusades have the javelin armed troops, and whereas you don't have them, and heavy weapons in some, like Ordenstadt, for instance. Do you think that they're a decent marriage for competition?
Yes, I think they go better together than matching with say Viking Age. There would be more problems.
Oh
there.
God, yeah.
And Studio Tomahawk themselves, of course, recommend in their tournament pack that Crusades and Chivalry can go together. So we obviously haven't played many games between them, very few really, between Crusades and Chivalry to know what the effect's going to be. My impression is that Crusades will be slightly stronger with their equipment options and the fact that there's a lot more fatigue play within the Crusades warbands, and I think that will help them, because Chivalry warbands don't seem to have a very capable of getting rid of fatigue. It's going to build.
No, they're not, are they? They're not. I mean,
so
there's other things. I mean, obviously, there's the banners as well, which you can have, which you can't have with. Which that's another. And some of the
banners everywhere in Chivalry, we can't have banners. But we'll leave it up to the player judgment. Really, when they bring a warband, there's lots of choice when you come to the Grand Melee, whether you want to bring a Crusades warband or Chivalry on that day too. What we did say in the pack is there's no old friends, new enemies allowed, because I think that would just it would increase the number of warbands too much. Really, we didn't need to do that. It's already got the warbands from Crusades and the warbands from Chivalry. And you can even bring the Wars of the Roses ones as well. I said, since we're playing in Leicester, I thought we could say bring Wars of the Roses warband as well if you want.
So you played roll call yesterday. What did you use?
I used French, and I was running roll call as well as playing.
Which French, early or late?
It was early French, feudal French.
Feudal French.
Yeah, just after. In fact, it didn't really make much difference in the way I played it, because I didn't take the levy in the list anyway. I had 3 points of half guard, which were usually two units of 4 mounted and a unit of 4 on foot, and then 2 points of warriors, and I swapped half a point of warriors for cannon each time, and I had the foreign men-at-arms mercenaries. So I went to, yes, not very many models in this warband, And
No, I
it
know.
was great. It was great fun to use. It was not terribly successful. Maybe I need more practice with the French, but they were good fun. So the first game I lost to Andras, who with Free Companies, who eventually won the tournament. So he was just my French charges couldn't seem to get through his defences, and he was always defending that. And then the next game I played Chris with his English, and we'd played a few times. I just couldn't seem to crack his warlord. There was a lot of warlord combat, and I couldn't quite finish him off in the end. He killed my warlord, although I did have the last laugh in that I lost the game, but my cannon shot his warlord and killed him at the end of the
game. Nice. Free games.
Yeah.
What sort of scenarios were you playing? Just general scenarios, Clash of Warlords, or?
So there was Clash of Warbands, the variation from the Studio Tomahawk pack, and then we played Advance from the Studio Tomahawk tournament pack again, and then the last scenario was one I'd written for this event called Chevauché. I thought the idea of this ride through the countryside to destroy your opponent's land. I thought we had a scenario named after that, really, where you have to clash in the middle. So I usually had 2 units of mounted Hearthguard and then one unit of Hearthguard on foot. So four person Hearthguard units.
So you were running just 6 points, six Saga dice?
Yeah, six Saga dice. Yeah. So the unit of warriors, I usually had 12 warriors. Yeah, in the cannon. Sometimes I played, I think 1 game. Yeah, in advanced scenario, I played them as 2 different units though, so that could hold 2 objectives.
Did you like the cannon?
It was very enjoyable to use, not very reliable. So the first game against Andras and his Free Companies, it was terrible. This cannon, it was terrible. It was just I was counting on it to really fire, and if I put a fatigue on the enemy, and then I can charge him with a Hearthguard, I can really mess someone up. And it never properly fired. It just wasn't working in that first game. And then so not very successful. The second game, I lost that first game to Andras. Yeah, he did thrash me really. He wiped me out really. And then the next game against Chris, he had English. We played each other quite a bit. So that was a bit more even. Good bit of battle in the middle. Lots of warlord fighting. So he won out on that and eventually killed my warlord.
He killed your warlord, but the French warlords don't die though, Joe.
No,
they don't die.
So I used the French special ability to shed my fatigue and charge into against his warlord. I did that twice, and both times bounced off his exhausted warlord. He defended it both times.
You were unlucky then.
A lot of attacks on his warlord, and of course the English have got some ways to shed some fatigue as well. So he would attack back the warlord in his turn, and eventually my warlord died. His warlord was left with a bit of fatigue in the middle. He won the game with points, but I did have a little laugh at the end because I fired my cannon at his warlord and killed him.
Did you really?
Killed his warlord with a cannon, yes.
You should get a special award for that.
Yeah, so I lost the game, but it felt like a win, really. So then that with the cannon was not terribly successful against Chris. It did a little bit, fatigues and a bit of that casualty. And the last game was against Martin on the Chevauché scenario. He had Swiss. He had entirely warriors with pikes, all warriors with pikes. Now that is terrifying to a cavalry army like the French. I had my 2 units of cavalry, a Hearthguard. He just ran away from him the whole time. So that was pretty scary. And the Chevauché scenario is basically you've got kill points for the first few turns, and then you've got to cross the table diagonally to score in the opposite corner of the table. So it was a bit of a fight and then a bit of a movement. And the cannon in that game was amazing. It was so good. It was like every time I fired it, it was causing casualties and putting fatigue.
So you were rolling against big units and getting the +1, and you must have been rolling 8s and 9s every time then, surely.
Yeah, I did. It was so good. It was crazy. It was embarrassingly good. You know, when you play one of those games and your dice are so good that you're sort of embarrassed that you.
Oh, I'm never embarrassed.
So that went really well, because then I could obviously the principle is putting fatigue on and weakening a unit from the cannon, and then going for a charge, and then you can do more damage to those fatigued units. So actually, because of that, I was able to fight through Martin's pikes and bit by bit chip away at them and actually come out with the win from that game. As I say, my dice were very, very good in that game. And so but a win's a win.
Okay, so you've got 3 scenarios there. Where are they? If someone wanted to play those, where could they find them? Or
you go to the page for roll call, which is the British Historical Game Society website, and if you look at the roll call there, you see the Saga, and then you can download the pack. But as I say, the first 2 scenarios are from the Studio Tomahawk tournament pack, so they're also available on the Studio Tomahawk page.
And you've not tweaked them at all?
No, I don't think I did. I think they were as written. Yes, pretty much. Maybe just clarified some things. I think they're pretty much as written. And the last one was one of mine, which was just a bit of fun for chivalry, the chevauché. It worked quite well. Yeah,
and this was just chivalry. It wasn't Crusades as well.
Just chivalry. So quite a nice mix of war bands there as well. So we had 12 players, and most of the war bands there. There was English, Burgundy. I was the only French player. There were 3 with Bretons. There was Swiss. There was Hussites and Free Companies. So quite a few of the different war bands there.
No Italians then? No Condottieri then?
No Italians. No Scots.
No Scots. Wow. I think the Scots are decent. I like them.
Yeah. I think they look very good. Yeah.
So have you decided what you're going to use at Grand Melee then?
Well, not for definite. I've decided I am going to take a chivalry warband for the day 2. I am. I'm just enjoying them at the moment. I think I will take a chivalry warband. Not sure if it'll be the French. They are fun to play and they are strong in the melee, but maybe they can't win in all the scenarios. So maybe French, maybe.
And maybe the Welsh.
No, definitely not the Welsh for the Dark Ages Day. Definitely not. So it'll be someone else. I haven't decided that for the Dark Ages Day. Other than not Welsh.
You've heard it here first. Everybody's playing. The Welsh won't be there. He won't be using them.
Oh yeah, plenty of other players will bring Welsh, I'm sure. They're a good war band. Yeah, very solid.
Okay. So you've been around a little while then, really, with your Northern Tempest podcast. And are you still active with that? I know you did something last year when you played at
the Grand Melee. I think that was the last thing we did. My report.
Yeah, I remember. I heard it. Yeah, it was good.
So we obviously did for a while when we first started the Northern Tempest podcast. We were doing it every month, and that was great. Really, it was really buzz. It was Saga version.
Was that version 1 or version 2?
That was version 1 when we were doing it every month, and then version 2 came out, and then we did a few. We weren't quite so regular. And then we changed to start doing a few videos, but it was really sort of changes in the jobs that we were doing, and the amount of free time we had meant we didn't have the time to play and record episodes. So it means we just stopped doing it really. And I've said we perhaps never say never really, that we might do another episode again. It might come back together, but at the moment it's like if we've got free time to get together, myself and Jim and Chris, we want to play a game. We don't want to be recording. We want to actually play the game and get stuck in. Yeah. So yes, we might come back and do something in the future, but no, not for now. And when we started, of course, there wasn't much Saga content out there. Rog had just started doing his Saga Thursdays, but there wasn't really anything else. And
Mike from Ohio Saga Ohio was there as well, wasn't he? So
not when we first started. No, he's not more recent. But of course now we've got the Saga Ohio. You with your great content, with your regular videos is fantastic. It's great for people to see. Roger's still going, and we've got the Strategicon podcast and Activation Phase, which is a brilliant podcast for tactics. So there's a lot more content around now. But I think so we just thank people who are working hard to produce it, like yourself, because it does take a lot of your time, and we know that it's a little bit thankless really, because you're putting a lot of your own tasks, and a lot of people will watch the videos and not comment or not like, and you don't get any feedback, we find, when you're making content, and So you do get
it's
some nice comments, but most people don't say anything, do they?
No, it's quite interesting because obviously YouTube send me metrics for my videos, and I can see how many people watch my videos who subscribed and those who haven't, how many who haven't liked it, and it also tells you how long people watch it for as well, which is quite interesting. So people go in, they look at it, then they snap out, then they come in and they fast forward it, and it's interesting what people do and how they watch battle reports. I'm always trying to tweak it. When I started, mine were some of mine were 2 hours long, but now with editing, I've got it down to about 50, 60 minutes. And if it's over an hour, I'm looking at it again, thinking I'm gonna have to trim this. And
I think that's a good way to do it. Really, the full length game is a bit too long to follow everything. So yeah. Trim it down. Hours quite a good length to talk through the moves and the key points of the game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always trying to refine it, and some of the tech, the mics have become really, really important as well. The way you record, and particularly when there's the Reading Club's got really high ambient noise, but
yeah. But the plus side of that is that you're at a busy club and there's people playing other games, and that's quite nice to hear that that you're in a busy environment. That
our club can have up to 70 people there on a Wednesday night.
Oh, that's fantastic! Yeah,
it's one of the big ones, and as a consequence, there's a massive variety that goes on at Reading Club. I mean, I belong to Farnborough as well, and we get 20, 30 maybe on a good night, but the Reading Club's huge. And with Warfare as well, which is a big show. It's one of the biggest in the country, I think.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky to belong to them. I was going to ask you another question. When you watch games and people play, or you play people, what rules do people with Saga they get wrong? What's the common one, or people they forget to do? Do you think there's anything?
Forget to do it's a constant one for all of us, no matter how experienced we are, is that we forget to use our orders abilities and go into activation phase. Do you know what, we all do that. We forget to, and luckily players are very forgiving because everyone does it. We usually forgive it. You say, oh, I forgot to use my orders, and someone say, yeah, okay, go back and play that. I assume you play that. So it's very forgiving in the player base from that way, but that's something that everyone forgets really, and just reminding each other of, oh, have I used my we obey yet? Have I used my determination? That's one that we discussed, but it's quite good. You talk to your opponent as well, and of course, because you can pre-measure and check measurements whenever you want, you can always move and declare the intent of where you want to move to as well. Helps prevent any arguments, things like that. So there aren't many mistakes. Sometimes it's just abilities seem a bit unclear, so you just need to go back and read the rules very carefully, and it's usually explained properly in the detail of the rules. Yeah.
I think sometimes the battle boards, I mean, I've not played every battle board, but there are some that if you haven't got experience with them, you're going to catch a cold with them. Free companies, as an example, they've got that ability where you can send your troops going backwards, and the way you do that is quite important. And the little finessey things within some of the boards do take time to learn, and you're I think that's a hard thing sometimes, and you can't play a faction once. You've got to play it 3 or 4 times to really understand how the battle board works, in my opinion. But
yes, that's right, and of course, if players in a small group might be playing a rule wrong and not know about it, if it works for them, they're not playing
exactly.
It doesn't really matter. But if you come to an event, you might learn kind of how things are usually played, how something works slightly differently. Yeah, so that's something that sometimes turns up if someone is not used to playing with people outside the normal group.
It's a bit like when I play a lot of people with melee. I don't want to appear overbearing, but there's a definite process that you have to go through, assembling your pool, do you want to close ranks, and then you go through the abilities. And some people skip it, and then they realise, oh, I should have closed ranks, um, and it,
Yeah, it makes difference. The order is there for a reason, and so yeah, that closing rank
absolutely.
needs to
And
come first, because sometimes you close ranks and regret it later on. When you look and see what abilities someone's got, it sometimes can be a mistake.
well, some people just, I use my little box, which hopefully I'm going to be upgrading soon. But my broken box lid, as someone's pointed out on Facebook. But within that box, I have a process, and it might sound like I'm trying to dictate how people play the game, but the reality is that there is a process that must be followed to make the rules work properly. And it's important to do it right. But there we go. Is there a rule in Saga that you would change?
There's a few abilities perhaps need a little bit of a tweaking. Seem very powerful, but they kind of there's always grumbles about that. I think the one thing which we're still puzzled over is the bonus dice thing that came in with the updated version of the version 2 rule book. We're still a little bit puzzled about why bonus dice are limited to the number of figures.
You're talking about, that was the 2022 FAQ, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, the update to the version 2 rulebook.
That was it. Yeah.
So now bonus dice were limited to one per figure to prevent bonus dice being too powerful. But the thing with doing that is meant Warlord could only get one more bonus dice, which didn't seem right, because one levy could get one more bonus dice. So it meant units were still getting a good benefit from bonus dice, whereas Warlords weren't, and that didn't seem to make sense. And it's made some abilities not quite work as effectively, and there haven't been corrections to all those abilities yet. It's not a major thing, but there's a few things which have caused an issue, maybe a few abilities here and there. So it's not a major problem. It's just it felt like it didn't really need to change in that way.
I mean, if there is a fix to that, if ever they wanted to do it, is that when we got a unit of 1, it becomes a unit of 4 for some abilities. What's it called?
Presence. The
presence
rule, and
very simple. Just say if you're going to use it, they get 4 dice. Then there we are.
It was explicitly stated that presence doesn't matter for this. It was still the Warlords does only count.
Yeah, I know.
Bonus dice, which seemed strange, that, but the Assyrian Tomahawk obviously did it for a reason. They are thinking long term, and they must have their reasons for doing it, and the way that the game moves forward. As I say, in day-to-day play, it doesn't often cause a big issue. It's just just I
don't know. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. The presence rule is there, and that would accommodate that. Listen, brilliant, Joe. Thank you very much for talking to me tonight. Appreciate your time. Hopefully, everybody can see this, and we might get a few more people coming along to Graw Melee to try out. I shall certainly see if we can get those other battle boards scenarios tested on my channel. And
that'd be great. We'll watch those and enjoy watching those.
See what I do wrong.
Well, keep trying out the different chivalry factions, Graham, and keep doing the videos, and keep doing the terrible jokes as well. We like those.
Yeah, I've got a joke book. I keep telling Wayne I'm going to just sit in there one day and just recite them. I've got hundreds of. I've written them all down, so they're all there. Listen, Joe, thanks again. I much appreciate it, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Hope you found that interesting. Great to hear Joe's point of view as the tournament organizer. And indeed, if you are fancy having a go, enter and see what you think for yourself. Anyway, as always, please like, share, subscribe. Take care, and see you all on the next video.